I'm Rance. I was born in Toronto in 1995, but I never really grew up there. When I was around 5 or 6 years old, my mom relocated me to Ancaster, Ontario, and I lived there most of my life. But now I'm living in Paris, Ontario, a deeply rural area, very centralized and stripped back, and just like quaint town life. And you know, I like those sorts of extremes, all natural, very beautiful foliage, or all modernity and the urban sprawl. I'm just always fascinated by the aesthetics and the shimmering skylines, the very pristine buildings, but I don't really have an insight onto what it's like to properly live there. I've been hearing about newer developments around the York Street area, these high-rise condominiums, very ambitious, very beautiful looking. But underneath, there's been all sorts of these crazy stories that I've just been hearing all over the news. And we want to dive into that by talking to a former resident.
I moved to Toronto in 2013. Just a guy coming with only living on savings, and then it wasn't actually my first choice. It was still under some construction, which that should have been my first red flag, because I think the building had been around for like 7 years already by that point, and they still hadn't finished things. So I don't know, there might have been some money issues going on there. But my first reaction was, wow, this place is pretty beautiful. If you've ever walked into the lobby, it really looks like a fancy hotel. But it actually didn't take long to start seeing those issues. You notice pretty quickly, you see the same faces every day, which are the people who actually live there, but you start noticing it's not really that many people because there's so many Airbnb. It really was a hotel. I don't think that was directly causing all their issues. I think it really came down to the property management kept changing. I don't think there was much care involved with the way the security operated, things like that. So just for example, the first thing I noticed, we had a big flood and it shut down all the elevators, and I had just got a new puppy and I had to take that puppy out multiple times per day climbing the stairs, and apparently that wasn't the first flood they've had. It was really messing up people's units, and like, what are the safety risks that are going to happen? What if there's a fire? Do I have any actual real protection here? There were so many countless fire alarms there, at least twice to 3 times a week, that were false flag fire alarms. And when when it's really real, and are you actually safe? Like, I would not ever think that security would ever keep me safe there. I wouldn't think, not at all. And that happened on and off for the 2 years I lived there. Where I used to walk my dog, you can just go out this door, but those doors are never locked, and there was for sure people living underneath the on-ramp and people living up inside the on-ramp. That's just the reality of the area where I was living. I found needles in there countless amount of times. So that's more, you could say that's more of a city problem as well. It had really not much to do with the building other than maybe the area they were in, because this whole area outside where those needles were, I just called it dog shit alley because it was just bushes. In the wintertime, it's all dead bushes, and they're literally hanging dogs' bag poops like a Christmas tree. It really comes down to a city in a big moment of gentrification and all these new condos going up, and developers love it. They want to get in on these, develop these buildings as fast and as cheap as possible. Like, who cares about the consequences later? We're going to just do this, and then maybe you're not making enough to deal with these kind of situations. So this is a bigger issue than just the condos alone, in my opinion.
When you look at the condominiums from afar, you think it must be an illustrious, grand living experience. But the reality is that it's anything but. It's all just a glass rose, fickle and withering and hiding its thorns with its immense beauty. I've got to reconcile this beauty that I see in the city and remember what it's built upon, and the policies and the values that they reflect will hopefully be as strong as the aesthetics they provide.